it's our intent to have ourselves all unraveled during these sessions, and by the time we get to by the time we get to next week's session and the end of it, and even maybe probably a little beyond that, we would have unraveled ourselves. I see a notation that Kashim and Delia are not quite here as yet, but Jamelia and I are here, and we can go ahead and do some wonderful things, because our our first speaker this evening is Jamelia. So I'm glad I'm not alone. I have my first speaker with me. However, before Jamelia go ahead, I would like to remind you of something. I'd like to remind you of the song we were playing a while ago. I'd like to remind you of the first verse and the lines that it says. It says, "You unravel me with your melody." Now, life is a journey. Life is a journey, and we grow as we go, and we learn as we grow. We are on this journey. It's not just a one-stop shop. Life is a journey. We're moving from point A to point B, and we are going there. And many times, sometimes we think that with just a little planning, and we were taught in many areas of our learning experience, that if you plan your plan and work your plan, you will succeed. All right. Now that has some truism to it, but there are other factors that sometimes we don't pay attention to. Sometimes we don't pay attention to the things that are holding up the learning, and thus I'd like to remind you of something that most of you on the call would have heard me say this, and I have it in my armory to share with you again this evening. When you are about to learn something, as you are preparing yourself to learn something, you would want to prepare yourself to be your best self. You would want to prepare yourself to be your best self. Now, life is a learning experience. So you would want to prepare yourself to be your best self throughout life. Now, I don't know if you found yourself in that position, but many of us would have been so eager to run off to have fun that we did not pay attention to the preparation of ourselves. And so many times we have to be doing a reel and come again. We have to be focusing on things in our later years that we should have been focusing on in our earlier years. But what happened is that fun and happiness is so attractive. You know, the bling and the lights and so on, so attractive that some of us rush off in those areas before we really take the requisite measures to prepare ourselves. But a wife is present. We have a wife. God has provided for us. We have princes in place. And I tell you something, man, a wife is such a tremendous blessing to so many of us. And I am glad and privileged to be a director here and to be able to not only to be able to help people, but also to be present when people are being helped. And from time to time, I see situations and I myself reach out to the situation and pull it into a AYF condition or situation, so we're able to help one another, right? But we would want to prepare ourselves to be our best selves. And let me throw in a little caution here. When we are doing these programs, we are doing these programs together. It's like a family sitting around um, in the den and are under the mango tree, wherever it is that you sit, and we are relating, and we speak, and we think, and we ask questions, and those of us who would have had more experience in the situations would probably be talking more than others. But it doesn't mean that it is them and we. It's us together. We are in the same. It's a level playing field, and we are relating to one another. We need guides, and we need assistance to help us on our journey. And thank God for AY. Thank God for Uncle Richie, Auntie Jilly, and Auntie Jackie, and the rest of the team. Thank God for all the people who came from different places. Some of them are not necessarily a part of AYF, but they are just supporting cast to what help us to get the job done. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thanks. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here, being a part of what we are doing. And I'm excited to be able to share this space with you. And we are going to seek to work together to see if we can enhance the better you for the future. So at this time, I'm going to ask one of my assistants, Lady Jamelia, to come on and share her heart or her experience with you for a couple of minutes. And you make notes of whatever we share, whichever one of us share at whatever time. You make notes, ladies and gentlemen, as to what are salient points. Some of them might not even be questions. They might be just things that you see and you love. You just note them. We don't always have to talk all the time, but if you have questions later on, we'll have Q&A, and we'll take care of that. So, Lady Jamelia, would you please grace us with your presence, not only in the chat, but in the forefront? Thank you very much, ma'am. Please make her welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Jamelia. There she is, the bumpy girl. Amen. Hallelujah.
All right. So I will be presenting on identifying signs of mental illness and ways to deal with them. And I wrote some things down. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. I wrote some stuff down. All right. So if you guys don't remember anything throughout this whole presentation, there's one thing that I want you guys to remember, and it is do not neglect yourself, right? If you forget everything else that I say, remember this: do not neglect yourself. All right. So you need to be observant, and you need to listen to your body and your mind, and whatever you hear, you need to assess it and find a way to deal with it before moving forward or while moving forward. But the important thing is that you listen to your body and you listen to your mind and you assess what they are saying, and then you move accordingly. All right. So there are some signs that you should look out for to tell if your mental health is deteriorating. And one small thing is that you may find that you're not sleeping as you usually would. So for some people, they get less sleep. They experience some sort of insomnia. For some people, they oversleep, right? Everybody's body is different and everybody works differently. But if, say, for example, regularly you would get 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep, and that would be enough for you, but something happened or you're doing a lot of things, and all of a sudden you are now only getting 3 4 hours of sleep a night, you're going to bed much later, you're waking up much earlier, you can't fall asleep, and if and when you do fall asleep, you're waking up different times throughout the night and you're waking up tired. Those are things that are important to look at. On the other hand, and I think this happens less regularly, on the I don't mean you would have been doing something that would have made you tired through, for example, the week, and then the weekend you sleep and you sleep for 13 hours. I don't mean stuff like that, but I mean if you are doing what you normally would, and you're now sleeping for 13, 12 hours every single day, and that's not normal, that's something that you should also look out for. The second point is physical changes. So one thing is that you may gain or lose weight. So if, for example, if you're not trying to gain or lose weight, and all of a sudden your body weight is dropping, or you're gaining weight, your clothes don't fit the way they used to, you go out on the road and people are noticing these fluctuations, and you are not trying. It is not, you don't think it is as as a direct result of something that you are doing, right? That is something that you need to pay attention to, because 9 times out of 10 that means that you are not eating the way that you normally would. So some people, if they're busy, they will opt not to eat the way they should, and some people, they would eat more. So you need to pay attention to that. And sometimes just stress alone, like separate and apart from what you're taking into your body, sometimes just stress will cause you to gain or lose weight. So if you're not doing anything to gain or lose weight, and you find that you're gaining or losing weight, then it is a sign that you need to sit down, assess what is going on, and fix whatever problem that you are having. Something else is that your body feels different. So you are more lethargic, you are always sleepy, always tired. Your muscles feel agitated, you feel tense, you can't relax, it's hard to relax, things like that. Those are also signs that you need to look out for, and signs that you should pay attention to, and assess what is going on in your life to fix it. So the next thing is you should always be paying attention to the state of your mind. I remember that we started out saying that it is important to listen to your body and your mind. So the next thing is that you should be paying attention to not just your body, but your mind as well. So if you find that over a period of time, for an extended period of time, you are feeling unusually unhappy or unusually sad. I mean, things happen to all of us, and it causes a change in emotions. So sometimes something will happen and you're sad, and something will happen and you're unhappy about whatever the situation is. But if for an extended period of time, and according to the experts, an extended period of time is 2 weeks or more. That's what the experts say. So if for 2 or more weeks you are constantly feeling sad and dejected and unhappy about something, or about maybe nothing, maybe that's just the way you're feeling, then that is something that you should pay attention to, and that is something that you should probably look into to ensure that you stay healthy. If you are constantly feeling demotivated, that is a problem as well. If things that you would normally enjoy, say for example, you normally enjoy playing sports, like you enjoy watching football or playing football with your friends in the afternoon, all of a sudden, for no particular reason, you just don't want to go. And I don't mean like 1 day or 2 days or something happen and you don't want to go, but you no longer have any type of desire. Out of the blue, you have no desire to do things that you were usually interested in. That is something that you should be looking at if that is happening to you, and you should sit down and assess what else or what may be causing you to feel that way. Another thing that you should be looking at, so this is point number 4, if you start isolating yourself. All right, so I know that not everybody is a social being, and I know that not everybody loves to go out and, be around people as much as others. However, it is important to socialize, right? So if you realize that all of a sudden or over a period of time, you no longer want to socialize with your friends and your family and the people who are close to you, who you normally socialize with, then that is a problem. Because, as I said, I know that not everybody is a social being, but it is important for human survival. I mean, no man is an island, no man stands alone. It is important for us to interact with each other, and that is healthy. So if you find that you are always by yourself, if an opportunity comes up where you can socialize and you choose not to, not for no particular reason, because obviously things will happen and you might not want to do something in that moment. But if for no particular reason, if it's something that you normally would like to do, for example, coming on Friday afternoons, if you find that you no longer have a desire to socialize with with us here, or if you play, like for example in the example before, if you normally play football with friends, if that is something that you no longer want to do, then that kind of becomes a problem, because socialization is important. No matter who you are, no matter how much of a loner you think you are, it is important to socialize with persons. And I don't just mean friends are going out, I mean in your house with your family. If you find that you're just locked away all day, then that is a problem. The next point is that small issues seem bigger than they really are. So if you get extremely emotional or angry about the slightest thing, if I have an example, and I'm sure a lot of students who are on here might have had this experience before. Say you have a lot of schoolwork, a lot of assignments to go in at a particular time, and you are feeling overwhelmed. And in that moment, when you're doing the work, the pencil point breaks. Something small, something minute. It's not that big of a deal. All you really need to do is go ahead and sharpen the pencil and continue working. But say for example that happens and you start crying, or you pick up the things and you throw them on the floor. That is a sign that you are overwhelmed. That is a sign that you need to take a step back and take a break, right? That is a sign that you're not your healthiest self, because that is something that is simple and that can be fixed very easily. But when you start behaving irrationally for the smallest things, that is a sign that there is something on your mind that you are not dealing with, that you need to deal with. And it is important to note that nothing, not schoolwork, not work, nothing at all is worth your mental health and your well-being. Nothing. The next point, the last point actually, is self-blame or feeling guilt and worthlessness. If you're constantly feeling like you are not worth anything, if you're constantly feeling like something is your fault or everything is your fault, and there's no actual grounds to any of that, then that's a problem. If you are constantly talking down on yourself, or you're constantly thinking the worst of yourself, then that is a problem, and you should reach out to somebody and have a word with them, because 9 times out of 10, the things that you are beating yourself up about are not even related to you. You can't do anything about it. It's something, if it's something that already happened, you have no control over it. So it makes no sense to sit and beat up yourself about something that already happened or something that you cannot control. So if you find that you're doing that all the time, and if you find that, if for example you do something and it doesn't turn out the way you want, so and for hours and for days you keep thinking about it and you keep telling yourself that you are worthless or you're not do or you did horribly at something, then that is not healthy, and you should fix that. You should reach out to somebody and talk to them. Yeah. Now, ways to deal with some of these signs. One of them is treating yourself with the same respect you would others, right? So, with the point that I just made about self-blame or constantly feeling worthless, right? You tell yourself those things. When you think things, you're telling yourself things, right? So if you're thinking that I'm worthless, I don't do anything right, things like that, those are things that you are telling yourself, right? And most of us, probably all of us here, would never actually say that to somebody who we cared about. So if you care about somebody, you would never go to them if they mess up or if they do something wrong. You would never go to them and tell them that they're worthless or tell them that everything is their fault, and you would never behave that way to somebody else, to someone you love. So why are you behaving that way towards yourself? It is important that we treat ourselves with the same respect that we do others and persons that we love. Number two is writing down your feelings and what is going on in your life. Some people call it journaling. It is journaling. And I think it is a great way to help control what is, well, not control what is going on in your life, but to deal with the issues that are that you're faced with. So what it does is that when you write things down, for example, something happened and you feel some type of way about whatever happened, you're feeling disappointed in yourself or in whoever, or you feel like something is your fault, write down what you are feeling. Because when you write it down, it is like you are given the opportunity to look at the situation from outside of yourself. So even though it is your situation and you are the one you are talking about, it is your experience, by writing about it, you're getting kind of a different perspective on it, right? When you write it down, you get to see things more clearly and understand things better. So I think that is something important that we should all try to do whenever we are feeling bad or good about anything. It's a good way also to track your progress, to track how you are feeling, and to know when something is wrong. The next point is spending more time with persons who care about you. So you need to spend time with persons who are good for you. And we know most times the persons who are good for us and the persons who are supportive towards us. So we should not isolate ourselves from persons who are beneficial to us. Not sure I want to use the word beneficial, but persons who are supportive to us. We should not isolate ourselves from them. We should try to spend time with those persons, spend time with your family, spend time with your friends. It is important to socialize with them. A lot of times it gets you out of your head and it gets you to stop thinking. If something is bothering you, if you're sitting alone by yourself, that is what is going to be on your mind. That is what you're going to be thinking about constantly, over and over and over again. And that is only going to dig you into a deeper hole, put you into a deeper hole when you do that. When you go out, you get an opportunity to take a break from thinking about whatever problem you are having. That is important in relieving some of the stress that you might have, and it is also important in finding ways how to deal with it. if you are constantly thinking about something and you're thinking about it in a negative light, then chances are you're not going to find a solution quickly, or you're not going to find a solution at all. Chances are all you're doing is putting yourself in more sadness, more unhappiness, more depression, right? So going out with persons, socializing with persons, people in your family, you talk to them, you might talk to them and you might get an idea on how to deal with your issue, or you just get a chance to take a step back from whatever issue that you're facing, and everything becomes a lot clearer to you. Uh, the next thing is that if you have been feeling unhappy, sad, if you have been feeling any type of negative emotion for an extended period of time, and as I said before, they say that an extended period of time is 2 weeks. So if for 2 or more weeks you have constantly been feeling negative emotions, it is important that you reach out to somebody who you believe can help, right? It is important that you talk to someone if that is something that you have been feeling for a long time, right? You can talk to your parents no matter how old you are. So even if you are an adult, even if you are working, you can talk to your parents. They 9 times out of 10 have your best interest at heart. You can talk to your pastor. I'm sure if any of us here had a problem, we would be welcomed by Dr. Selvin Watson to speak to him about whatever we're feeling, and I'm sure he'd be happy to assist us in whatever way he can. You can speak to, if you're a student and you have a particular connection with a teacher or a guidance counselor, somebody, you can speak to them. If you have a friend who you believe is responsible, because these things are sensitive issues, and if you cannot just tell any and anybody, because sometimes you will not get the advice that is best for you, right? Something else that is also important is that you pray. Praying is important because it if anybody who has ever had a problem has prayed about that problem, they would probably be able to tell you that it takes a lot of the burden off of your shoulders. So praying is important. Something else that you should do is take time for yourself. So it is important to take some time out to ensure that you are okay. And this is not just taking time out when you feel overwhelmed or when everything seems like it's going in the wrong way. This is having an allotted time, a few minutes every day, an hour every day, a few hours every week to sit down and just be with yourself, and God, just to detach yourself from what is happening in your life or what is happening around you. It is important that we take that time out to ensure that we are okay, right? And the last point is going out more often and get moving. When I say going out more often, I don't mean that you have to go to every party. I don't mean that you have to go to every single social, but go, if your family is going to the beach, go with them. If you like the beach, go to the beach. If you like exercise, go out and exercise. Even if you don't like exercise, take a walk one morning. Do things that will, get your blood pumping and will get you and will release some dopamine, which will make you happy. Do things that will make you happy. Go out and have fun responsibly, right? So that is it. If there are any questions, please leave them in the chat. Thank you.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears have gone. I'm no longer.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Lady Jamelia. Bless you. Bless you for your in-depth research and your presentation. We appreciate what you have done, what you have said, and as she says, wherever and whatever is, you might have questions or whatever, you can either put them in the chat or you can save them for when we are having Q&A. Okay, I see that Lady Kashim is present, so we're going to ask her to come on now and make her presentation. Please make her welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Cash.
I'm going to be sharing my screen and I'll be turning on my camera in a moment. Just please let me know as soon as you are seeing my screen and then I will go right ahead.
Yeah, go right ahead. We are seeing your screen.
Okay, I must also caution you guys that I'm having a bit of a sore throat, so I hope it does not interfere too much with my presentation, but okay, I'm just gonna go ahead.
We'll work with it.
Thank you. Let me zoom this up a bit. Okay, that's not working. Okay. Oops. Sorry. All right. So my presentation this evening is very similar actually to Jamelia's, and I didn't know it was gonna be so similar, but I'm glad that it is because our information just flows then.
Just a minute there, Kashin. Just a minute there, Kashin. Auntie Janet, could you mute your video, please? Thank you. Go ahead, Kashin.
Right. As I was saying, I did not know my presentation was going to be so similar to Jamila's, or hers would be so similar to mine. But as I go into it, you'll see why I would have said that, because some of the key things coming out of hers is also included in mine. So yeah, my presentation this evening is focused around emotional self-reliance, and that is the key to how you get your power back. That's how you take your power back. So we're just gonna go right ahead and see what self-reliance even means. Okay, so self-reliance, in its simplest terms, it simply means reliance on one's own efforts and their abilities. Not too hard, nothing to really pressure our heads. That is all self-reliance is. It's really relying on your own efforts, your own abilities. And if you put it in context of emotional self-reliance, then you're thinking about you being in control or you being responsible for your own emotional intelligence. So then it comes to question, what does it even mean to take your power back? Because why would you need to take your power back? So my next slide, now it says that to me, taking my power back, or any of us taking our power back, simply means to take responsibility for you and allowing what is for you to come to you when your emotions are within your control. It's not within your friend's control, your family's control, but they're your emotions. So, of course, you are in charge of them. And a very famous quote by Adrienne Rich, which is a favorite of mine, says that responsibility for yourself means refusing to let others do your thinking, your talking, your naming for you. And it means learning to respect and use your own brain and instincts. Now, looking at this, it's easy to think of it in a rebellious manner. But none of us here are trying to be rebellious. And it doesn't mean you're going to lash out in every situation that, excuse me, that requires you to be emotionally available. It doesn't mean you're going to lash out. It doesn't mean you're going to be like, okay, I'm in control of my emotions, so I'm going to act out. What it means is that you know when to react a certain way to different situations because, of course, it is within your control. So then you would know what timing, what place is, well, what emotion is required for what time and what place. And that is all that that means. So then it comes to question, what are some of the things that even takes our power in the first place? Because if we're talking about taking back our power, emotional self-reliance, we're taking back our power. What would have taken our power in the first place? What are some of the ways that we go about giving up our power? Who do we allow to take our power from us in the first place? And at this time, I would actually like to hear from some of you to see if any of you have any idea. Like, what are some of the things that we do to have ourselves look emotionally weak? What do we do or what don't we do to have other people take control of how we feel or just have us all over the place with how we feel? If there's anyone that could please unmute if you're able to, or raise your hand and you'll be unmuted, I think, to please let me know. Okay, I'm seeing messages in the chat. Okay, I'm seeing Brianna Clark is saying some of the times we're too dependent on others. Okay, Brianna, you're onto something. You're onto something. Anybody else? Delia. Okay, Delia, you can go
Good night,
ahead.
everyone. Yes. So I think self-doubt is definitely a way in which other persons take our power from us.
Self-doubt. Facts. That is so true. And I think it also ties in a lot with what Brianna said. But we're gonna get to that part of the presentation right now. So let us go over. Okay, I'm seeing another message in the chat. Hannah says emotions change based on the other person's actions or feelings at the time. So your emotions change based on how someone else reacts or feels at the time. Okay, I get that. I understand what you're saying. And that too links with what's coming up next. So let's see what the next slide says. So these are just 4 of the ways that we're actually really emotionally dependent on people some of the time, or we give them too much of our power. And this is why we need to take it back. Now, the first one I have here listed, and of course, these were given to me by a few people that would have been facing some of these things. So to them, these are some of the things that would have been holding them back or hindering them from really taking control of their emotions. The first one is self-blaming for situations that we aren't responsible for. And in cases like that, the response to everything is always, I am sorry. I relate to this one so earnestly, and I know a lot of you here might as well, because a lot of the time we feel so pressured to take responsibility for actions that are honestly not even our faults, but it's easy to believe that it's our fault because that's what the persons that are around us have us feel. And then it really it has you thinking, are these people even good for me if I'm around them and they're having me feel like I have to victimize myself all the time, or I have to be apologizing for everything that I do. So self-blaming is definitely a way in which we give people too much of our power. We really give them too much of our power because we're apologizing for everything. And what did you even do? Now, this is not to say that when you actually do something wrong, you're not supposed to recognize where you have went wrong in the situation, but that's just to say that don't take responsibility for everything that you did not do. Why you just take the blame for everything so why you do so? Why? And I'm gonna go to the next one because I think we all actually relate to the first. If even in the past, we may have come across instances where you would have done so. So the second one is sometimes we're indecisive about what is good for us, and we leave everything relating to our well-being in the hands of others. No, this one to me, it was, I could understand it. When I heard it, I could understand it. But then it was like, it happens and we're aware that this is what's happening, but it's as if we don't stop it or we can't stop it because we know that this might not be good for me, but we allow people to go ahead and tell us anyway. You might be going through a particular situation, and I'm going to use a teenager scenario. In high school, you might be going through something at home, and you relay this to a friend, and this friend suggests, girl, boy, I think you should get a tattoo. I think you should go, I think you should go get a tattoo because tattoos make everything feel better. And I'm like, what? How is a tattoo gonna make me feel better? But then again, you're indecisive. You don't even know what's good for you. So you allow people to decide what is good for you and what's gonna make you feel better. And then they get into your head and then tell you everything about how the pain where you're gonna feel from the needle, I gonna feel so sensational, it make you forget all of your worries in a life. And you're like, this person genuinely believes what they're saying. And they convince you to believe what they're saying, and that is what is best for you, even when you know that it really isn't. But because of how indecisive we are, we allow people to make these decisions for us. Right, so on to our next point. Another way that we give people too much of our power is that we seek advice from just about anyone, anybody with ears, anybody with ears that can hear and are willing to listen, even if they truly don't care about our emotional well-being. And it's questionable because how can you be taking advice from just about anyone? People give bad advice some of the time. You're just gonna take anything that you hear and you just run with it. How are you gonna know what is true from what is not? How are you gonna know which advice that you're giving applies to a particular situation? And it comes down to being mindful of the people that you have in your circle, the energy that you allow around you. Because if you allow just about anyone to advise you on certain situations, then I mean, what guidance do you even need in your emotional well-being? You don't need guidance because you're taking it from anybody. You're taking guidance from anyone. So how are you even trying to be more emotionally intelligent or self-reliant? You just don't take anything from anybody. It doesn't matter to you. So it really comes down to acknowledging who is worthy of your time, who is worthy of giving you advice, because yeah, you have to be worthy of giving me advice. Put yourself on that standard where you can't just take any advice from anyone. Those people have to be worthy of giving you advice. Take it from people that are of a high status, that, and when I say high status, I don't mean socially, but emotionally. You see that person and you see how they handle themselves, and you see the rank that they put themselves on to be emotionally smart, to be aware of themselves, and to be their truest self. They're fully emotionally aware. Everything that they do, they're conscious of it. Take advice from people like that, because then you would know that they would have worked hard to get there, and that's where you want to go. So take advice from people like that. Again, just to take your advice from everybody. Everybody saw. Okay. So let's go into our fourth reason that we often give up some of our power, or too much of our power, which is that we're desperate for approval from others. We are desperate for approval from others in hopes that it helps us to find self-worth. Now, I can personally say that journey called self-worth, it will take you through some things sometime. It will take you through some things to really discover who you are. And as a teenager, still discovering who I am, I honestly know what it's like to be seeking validation from people. Because, of course, I want to fit in and I want to know what my purpose is in this life. So, I'm just gonna see if I can fit into that social group there or that social group there. And it stems beyond us as teenagers. It stems to adults even, because in workplaces, you'll see adults trying to fit in with a certain set of people at work. You'll see it in other settings. You'll see it within your family. Some of the time, a particular family member may not be what you would consider the best role model, but you're around them. Oftentimes it's because you don't have a choice, but then there are other times when you think, maybe this person will guide me on my purpose in life. When you know yourself knows that them don't sure about them purpose in their life, but you're following what you think to be true, even when you know it's not. And it happens so often to none that you'd be surprised, why are people still doing this? And it's because it's that level of desperation. It's literally being desperate. We're so eager, we're so needy to the point where we're not even aware that we're seeking approval from this person, and we think this is who we are, but that is who they are, and we're around them, so it becomes intoxicating and we can't stop. It's like an addiction. I'm telling you, seeking approval from people oftentimes becomes an addiction. I can tell you as a teenager, and who better to tell you about, you know, seeking approval other than a teenager that experiences it every day at school. Not to mention, I go to an all-girls school, so that is another pressure on its own, because there are so many different clashes in girl groups, and it's hard to find yourself when you try to just dissolve into all of these different groups. So we do it so often to none that we don't even realize when we're doing it and how to stop. But do not worry, because I have a little roadmap for you. I have a little roadmap that might not work for everyone, but it's a start. And you may need to narrow down on some of it, subjective to you if you need to. But this is like a very broad roadmap that might help anyone here tonight, um, to get their power back, because it's yours. And now this is my step-by-step roadmap. Now my number one on this roadmap. See it up here in blue, right here? Yeah. Seek guidance from God. From who? From God. Why? Because He made me. So of course He's gonna know how emotionally intelligent I need to be. Seek guidance from God. And of course, this is another topic on its own, because there are a lot of people who haven't fully developed a relationship with God to the point where they feel like, how can I communicate best with God? How do I hear God's voice? But if you're really serious about your self-care journey and being emotionally intelligent, then this of course is going to be something really important to you. You're going to want to get started on how you can build your relationship with God, so you can seek guidance from God, because you know that He's not going to give you no foolish advice. If you're so willing to take advice from everybody around you, why not hear it from God too? Why not see what He says and see, okay, maybe what God is going to be telling me is going to be way, way, way more beneficial to me than what anybody else is telling me, because it oftentimes is subjective to them. Give God a chance. That is all step one is saying. Give God a chance. Step two now. We're finishing up. Now, step two says to analyze the people around you. I said this earlier in my presentation. Analyze your circle. Who they in your corner? Analyze your circle and see if these people are supportive of you bettering yourself, or are they draining your energy? Because I heard this maybe like 2 years ago from my father, and he and I were on the phone, and he was saying to me, sometimes you have to be careful of your friends, because they drain your energy. Me at that time, I'm in grade 9. I don't know what this man is talking about. What do you mean drain my energy? Are they gonna like turn me upside down and just pour out my energy? What do you even mean? And it came to realizing that what he was saying was so true, that it was happening around me and I didn't even notice it. Because people some of the time, and this is not everyone, but some of the time when we don't pay attention to it, we don't see that some persons are really like ticks. They're like leeches to the point they will go into your skin, and you're around them every day that you don't even realize that this person is draining my energy. When I go around them, I feel so overwhelmed. It's like the stress times 5,000 when I go around this person. They make me feel like me I'm mad. And sometimes you can't control it because it's a family member, they're around you and you live with them. So, okay, I can't leave home. I'm not telling anyone to run away. Guys, don't run away. But if it is that you are able to, how do I say this in the best terms? I would say, find peace of mind within. Find peace of mind within. This person might be around you physically, but they can't get into your mind if you don't allow them to. So find peace there. You're around them and you are aware of the fact that this person lets me feel a particular way when I'm around them. So when I'm around them, this is what I'm going to continue to do, because this is how I protect myself. When they say certain things, I'm not going to answer immediately. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about what's best for this situation. And I'm going to see, okay, this might be the best response. So analyze your circle, man. See who they around you. If a 3 friend alone you're going to have left, nothing wrong with 3 friends, Nothing is wrong with 3 friends or 2. Now we'll go to 1, because sometimes we have best friends and they're that's another story by itself. But even 2 friends, nothing is wrong with 2 friends. Nothing. 2 loyal friends is worth more than 10 or 20. Oh, dishonest friends. So it really comes down to who you want to have in your circle. Analyze the people around you, man. Analyze who you want to bring up with you, because we're all on this journey to getting emotionally intelligent, to being self-reliant. So we got to see who we're going to bring with us. Okay, time for step 3, having alone time often. This is, I would have put this at number 2, but then again, they're also important. I couldn't decide what goes where. Having alone time is so important. And as I put there in brackets, you're not getting mad. So don't tell yourself you're mad people alone talk to themselves. Don't tell yourself you're mad people alone talk to themselves. Introspection, looking within, seeing what is going on within me that causes reaction externally. Or what do I do within? What am I doing? How am I reacting to certain things that causes these external reactions? What's going on inside. Introspection is really important, and sometimes we're so clouded by everything that's going on, we don't get the time to really look within. So having alone time is really awesome. I don't suggest that you only have alone time when you sleep, because some of the times you don't even get a full 8 hours nap. So how is that alone time? How is that you looking within? Those are dreams. That's not introspection. So you need to find some alone time. If it's even 5 minutes per day, you can start small. Start with 5 minutes. Get 5 minutes introspection. Think about the things that you did during the day. How did I react to this particular person? Did I rush into saying something that I could have told them, give me 5 minutes and I'll get back to you? Think about how something that you might have said may have come off the wrong way to persons, because not the way that you see things, is always going to be the way that somebody else sees something. So a lot of this really is what is inclusive in introspection, in looking within yourself. How did something that you do, or something that you thought and you said it out loud, how did it make other people around you feel? Number 4, be open to accepting your mistakes from the past. You are aware of them, and that is of utmost importance. What does this mean? You're moving on from the past. You're letting what happened stay right there. It happened. You can't go back and change it. And you hear this a lot of time in presentations and you think, why is it so repetitive? Because it's true. Because it is so true, to the point where you have to leave some things alone. You can't carry it with you on your journey. So why it on your back every day? Why it on your back? It not help the journey. It not make it no lighter. Imagine you going over a hill and you have this big suitcase over your back. Try bring with you. Let it go. Let it go. Because what is the reward at the top of the hill? Is it that you're aiming for emotional intelligence? That you're able to be open with your emotions and how you make other people feel, or how you feel when you say certain things? Is it that you're aiming for a particular status? Are you trying to get your business booming? Whatever is at the top of that hill for you, because even though my road looks a little curvy right there, just imagine that a hill is after this road. So what is at the top of the hill for you? Why is it that you have to bring that baggage with you? Is it something that you're going to open the suitcase once you reach the top of the hill and you just let out all of your baggage from the past, so it can overwhelm the situation and you can't even enjoy what you work so hard for? You can't even enjoy what you climbed all of that road for? Some things we have to let go. Acknowledge the fact that it did happen. I'm not proud of what I did, but I'm aware of what I did. Therefore, it will not happen again. I did not like how I felt in that situation, so it will not happen again. I didn't like how I let other people feel in that situation, so it will not happen again. There has to be some kind of mechanism that you form to allow yourself to let the past remain right there where it belongs, in the past. Number 5, it is to develop new habits and let go of old ones. Move forward on the path that you envision yourself on. I said this earlier. If you want to get on that hill up there, you have to develop new habits. You can't spend that 5 minutes after you get home from work or school every day thinking about what you did wrong. It can't just be about what you did wrong and you make it into a habit. Rather come home that 5 minutes, for that 5 minutes every day and do some introspection. Because introspection isn't just about thinking what you did wrong in a particular situation. As I would have said, it's about how you make other people feel, how you felt in the situation. So rather than sitting down and making a habit of having anxiety over certain things or just really obsessing over situations you can't change, introspect or start something new. Journal, as Jamelia said earlier. Journal for 5 minutes if you need to. If it's 5 sentences, journal, write it down. It will help develop a new habit, whatever works for you, because journaling doesn't work for everyone. I know that personally, it does not work for me. I love to write, but journaling, writing down how I feel doesn't always help. It helps more to talk about it for me. So yeah, do what it is that you know will work for you, or ask around, not from anybody, ask around from persons that are emotionally intelligent what worked for them. See if you can find an incorporation between different things. Find what works for you, those habits that will help you get to that top of the hill. And my last step in my step-by-step guide is to live without seeking validation. Accept that you are open to feeling your emotions because they are yours. No, we know that we're from Jamaica, right? And we know how Jamaican men stay some of the time. It's just like, oh, I'm so macho. I just gotta be like this all the time. I don't feel nothing. Not to mention the so-called gangster them, because they don't feel nothing, no pain, no gain, They don't feel nothing. So they are completely shut off from their emotions. But as soon as somebody hurt them, then just start ball, right? And you get to understand. Say it really was just a show, I don't know why y'all play tough and say you soft so many times. And so many times they really don't soft, but they hold it in for so long that it becomes suffocating for them. And when they get the opportunity to actually open up, it's like, whoa. For you looking on them, you can see like this person was holding in a lot. And for them, it's like, I'm just crying for what's happening right now. I'm not crying because of how much I would have been holding in, but you are. You are crying for how much you have been holding in. Allow your emotions to be yours. It's okay to say, somebody did a laugh about this 5 minutes ago, and then right now me a ball because somebody tell me something and sit right with me. Some of the times it's not that you're bipolar. Stop diagnosing yourself with bipolar disorder. Come on. Are you a doctor now? Stop diagnosing yourself. It's okay to feel these emotions. It's okay to be, so overwhelmed with emotions that you can't help but express it. You can't help but feel excited. You can't help but feel shocked that something happened. And some of the time I want to keep a poker face. Nothing is wrong with keeping your poker face, but be open with your emotions. Be open with them, that when you feel them, you don't have to try to change them into something that they're not or what you want them to be. Like, I shouldn't be crying right now. I should be smiling because I don't want this person to see that they had an effect on me. So I'm just gonna suck it up, and then when I go home, I'm still not gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna tough it out because I'm a general. No, when you go home, you can cry. It's okay that you don't want to seem vulnerable in front of these persons, but allow yourself the time to cry whenever it is that you find that time. Make it happen. Don't just say you're gonna do it and then you don't. Plan your cry time if you need to plan your cry time. Plan your laugh time. Whatever it is that works for you, do it. Because we're trying to get emotionally intelligent, right? We're trying to be self-reliant about our emotions. We're trying to get to that level that, people don't just say anything and it just affects us right away. No, because we're in charge of how we feel. So, make it make sense. We're in charge of how we feel. So in order to get to that level of self-reliance, we have to be able to be open with our emotions and open with how we feel. Now, this is the end of my presentation, but just to finish it off, we're talking about power. So, how can we be talking about power and we don't bring in 2 Timothy 1, verse 7? How can we? Because for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. God gave this to us. Therefore, everything that I said in this presentation, we've already been given it. We got it already. It's just to really put it in action. So with that, I close off tonight. God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Thank you for giving me your time tonight, everybody. It was my pleasure.
Impressive, 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 impressive. Impressive, impressive, impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, the two presenters this evening are teenagers, children, presenting, relating to one another on a level that you can relate, you can understand, you can see. It's not just the gray hair guy talking to you and telling you some things, but it's your own peers relating some things. Yes, of course, you see that they would have done researches and share some of what they think other people would have would have said. But for them to be able, for Kashim and Jamila to have been able to put the thing in their own words, in their way, and relate to it like what they feel about it. The word is impressive. Impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes it is difficult to relate to, I've been there, I've been born big. I know it's sometimes difficult for us to relate to your peers knowing something that you didn't know. That's how some people come across, They don't like this because the person who had it first, is not much older than me or probably younger than me. But then there are the gems in life who would learn from not only these situations, but even from their own mistakes. Many times we philosophize things and present them as if they are our own thoughts and we do not have a grasp on them. But then when you see people presenting, like these ladies here, presenting from their hearts, yes, using things from other people that they admire, but presenting from their hearts in the AYF group, in a group where they know that there are people who they can relate to right here. It is impressive. I'm impressed, ladies. Thank you very much, and I'm sure that yes, put in all the sevens in the chat and whatever. I am one that don't generally ask for sevens and whatever, but put whatever you want to put in and enjoy. And just enjoy yourself, really, really impressive, really impressive. If there are any, I know some comments have come through. If there are any questions, there are any questions, and I think that these girls were very clear and very, expressive. And if there are any, if there are any questions that you would like us to, just consider, the panel is four of us, it's not just the two presenters today. We have Lady D himself, so any one of us can answer your questions if you have a question. So can we look at that right now? Is that okay? Do you have a question, or are you just happy in the presentations that has gone on? I think we are happy. I think we are happy. That was a job well done. Oh my God. Hallelujah. You know what I'm going to do? I had already planned that based on how I saw Jamelia going, and I said if Kashin came on and did anything as impressive as what Jamelia did, I mean, I'm just going to allow, after we would have seen what we have seen this evening, the rest to stay for next week. All right. So who fell off the call? Oh, okay. It's nice, ladies and gentlemen. Consider something for me until we come back to this point. I want you to take homework and see if you can consider something for me. I don't want you to wait for the signs because you don't have to. If you reach the signs as Jamila presented, then you know you need help. So at that time, I don't want you to wait in your small corner and hold yourself to yourself. Please speak to somebody. But I don't want you to wait for the signs. I want you to prepare yourself for the new you. And that is possible. That can be done even before you see any sign. I know that many times people, and it's not just young people, people in general, tend to think that the thoughts of my head are the only things that I need to consider. That's not true. That's not true. It's a big world, and there are brilliant people, and there's a lot of information, and there's knowledge that God has communicated to us, and He has. And that, by the way, Kashim, that was a beautiful scripture that you shared there, and so I'll save mine. I'll save mine because that yours was so awesome. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself so you have your best self. I hope that you took note of that I said earlier on, because if you had prepared yourself to have anything near your best self, you would have learned a lot this evening. And so it is very special. It's very nice that you are. Let me see if somebody is seeking to communicate to me. Okay, all right, good. I'm just going to hand over to Uncle Richie at this time, because what's happening is that we would have used up a lot of the time allotted. So we come back next week. The cadre of us comes back next week, and Dale and I are going to present, and then you would have had time to think about Jamila's presentation, to think about Kashin's presentation, and to see if there's any area that we could address for you. And I'm sure that you're going to have a better week, and see you when I see you. Uncle Richie, please.
I want to say thanks one more time for the presenters this evening. Put some ones in the chat. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Jamelia, Kashin, Apostle Dr. Selvin Watson. This has been an excellent experience. We have recorded a session, so if you want an opportunity to go back and take some notes and listen in your quiet time, as both our speakers have encouraged us to have those quiet time, you will have access to that. We'll share the link in the WhatsApp chat this evening. Just one thing I want to share tonight is that we meditate on good things. Fill up your head with good things, and it will flow out in your thinking and your actions. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Bless you. Good night.